Okay, putting this one out there for the Carl Froch Arthur Abraham fight that was tonight, where basically Froch completely outclassed, outboxed, yeah, I'd say outmuscled as well. Arthur Abraham for 12 rounds, complete shutout, smashed him to bits, more or less. You know, in the 10th, I thought that there was a good argument for the fight being stopped. And everybody was saying, oh, Froch is such a limited fighter, he can't box, he can't this, you know, everybody's blowing smoke up Arthur Abraham's arse for the last 5 months about how powerful he is, he's going to take Froch's head off, you know, Froch is a really, you know, limited, one-dimensional fighter. I mean, I do a lot of fight reviews for British fights, British fighters, because I'm British, so I watch British fighters, but we're lucky because we've got quite a good crop of fighters at all weights who are competitive and world champions, and Froch is one of those. Now, Carl Froch, just to get the record straight, because people bash on him all the time, more or less went to war with John Pascal 3 or 4 years ago at super middleweight, beat him up, more or less. Great fight of the year, undoubtedly. Beat him up. Jean Pascal has gone out to clean up at light heavyweight, more or less. I mean, there's arguments about the Dawson fight, but Dawson was going to be the best thing in the world. Pascal just schooled him utterly. Froch beat Pascal. Froch has also recently retired, more or less, Mikkel Kessler. People gave Kessler that fight. When I watched it first time around, thought Kessler maybe by a round. But watching it back, and I have done 2 or 3 times, I thought that Froch probably won that fight because he's taken an awful lot of Kessler shots on his gloves. People say Froch's movement's limited and all the rest of it, but the crowd were all screaming, and you're thinking, oh, okay, he's connecting. But he's not, because that was a hometown fight, and the crowd are going to scream. So if he's smacking Froch around the head, and you're hearing, the of it, you're not really, seeing whether or not it's glove or it's head. And a lot of it was glove, to be honest. And I think watching that back, I think Froch won that fight by a round or 2, but he was never going to get the decision he needed to be, clearer than that to win it away from home. So he didn't get the decision. But Kessler isn't fighting anymore because Froch has damaged him quite severely, and Froch has an iron chin. I mean, he can pretty much just stand in the middle of the ring and just take your best shots, whoever you are in the world, certainly, probably right up to light heavy. And I don't like seeing him do it because I don't think he needs to do it. I think he proved tonight he's a really slick boxer and a great boxer when he wants to be. But he can take anybody's power, so nobody's going to go out there, nobody's going to seriously convince me that somebody's going to go out there and KO Carl Froch. You might put him on the ground, if you're a good puncher and you deliver with good timing. I mean, that's always possible, but the guy's eyes are always going to be clear. He's going to get straight back up again. I mean, anybody can be knocked down, but you can't. That's a bit different from a KO. So there's Kessler. Who else was there? It was Durrell. That was an appalling fight, but Durrell was, putting on his little acting class again back there, running around, slipping on the floor, behaving like a fucking clown, to be perfectly honest. And the boy's got some talent, but he doesn't seem to have any kind of commitment, or he doesn't seem to have a lot of. He's not a fighter in that sense, like in the way Froch is. He's got some boxing skills, but anyway. So I don't think Froch lost that fight. I don't think he clearly lost to Kessler and he's retired him. He's just smashed to bits Arthur Abraham, and everybody was saying Arthur Abraham was going to ruin Froch. Oh, well, yeah, where are you all now? Email me by all means and tell me how Abraham got robbed. Of course he did. Beat John Pascal, beat Jermaine Taylor when he didn't have to. Went over to the States and was behind and pulled it out of the bag with a dramatic 12th round KO. I mean, what else does Carl Froch have to do to get recognition? I mean, in my book, if he retired tomorrow, he's been a 2-time super middleweight world champion. He's beaten a light heavyweight world champion, albeit not at that weight yet. He'll probably move up in the future if he stays around. He retires fighters. He can take anybody's shots. I mean, Andre Ward might well beat him. I think Ward's a great fighter. I think, as a boxer, he's got every chance of beating Froch. But to muck Froch and say Froch isn't a world class fighter with a lot of heart and a lot of talent, and people are just hating it. It's actually sickening, because the guy goes out there and he puts on wars and exhibitions all the time. He never ever backs away from a fight. He puts his body on the line, and then people just come out and just hate on the guy when he's got so much talent. And and there's nobody clearly beats Carl Froch anywhere in the world, and yet he's second rate and all the rest of it. I mean, honestly, people claim to know boxing. You know absolutely nothing about boxing if you don't have any respect for Carl Froch, because he's what fighters should all be about. He ducks nobody, and he makes you proud to be British, to be perfectly honest. All right.